Good afternoon to all of you. So in the last, we are going to continue with whatever our experimental aerodynamics class. Okay. So we know that how one open circuit wind tunnel is going to be. So this is one similar one we have available in our laboratory. So this is your honeycomb section. And wire mesh. And also they will place a wires, okay, yes, straight wires, okay, here also. And your overall this unit, what we call it as our settling chamber. And this is your what we call it as contraction cone or a fuser. And this is your test section. And this is your diffuser. And here what they used to have is, okay, they used to have a fan, okay, for driving it, okay. So this is what a part of that. So basically this is a simple open circuit wind tunnel. Okay, open circuit wind tunnel. So what happens is, okay, the honeycomb sections and all, already we have seen that, okay, you have a hexagonal shape, and also a cross section. If you individual cross section, it's going to be a circle, circular, and square. So basically people used to prefer mostly on your hexagonal or square, and least only they will go ahead with your circular. Can you hear me? If you have any issues, please tell me. Are you okay with that? Any discomfort, anything?
Yes, sir,
okay. If you have any issue, please stop me. Okay. So they will be going for a hexagonal shape. Mainly, if you look at that, you can see that you have to see the number of corners. Number of corners. So hexagonal shapes are going to have a more number of corners. Okay. These corners, okay, they used to cut down the eddies very effectively. They used to cut down the eddies very effectively. Okay. So and also they are going to have a wire mesh. Okay, they'll further, they are, even if they have a smaller eddies, okay, it's going to be straightened, can be reduced with the help of your okay. So this is what is called. Same way this wire mesh also it's going to do. Normally they used to place your wire mesh nearer to your starting portion of your contraction cone or a fuser, or still little down. The reason for that, okay, here the velocity is going to be very less. Velocity is less when compared to your test section here. Okay, comparing to this section, you are going to have a less velocities here. So automatically what will happen, your Reynolds number is going to be very low, and also whatever your eddies, you look at that, okay, you go and check you might have studied in your aerodynamics course. If you take a circular cylinder, if you are going to be, you are subjected to your laminar flow, and your turbulent flow, okay, which is going to be very efficient, okay, which is going to be easy for us to your control stability of the flow. So in the laminar you can control very effectively. So that's why, okay, in the low velocity zone they used to put your wire. So then automatically you can have a your this one. You can have a stability of the flow and all. You can modify it. Okay. So next is your contraction cone. The contraction cone, what will happen? Whatever the your velocity, lower velocity fluid, it's going to be further accelerated because of the your change in area. The decrease in area automatically for a one-dimensional flow, area cross section area is decreases and your velocity is going to increase. That's what the one you have studied in your this one. Rho VA is equal to constant. Rho 1 V1 is equal to rho 1 V1 A1 is equal to rho 2 A2 V2. Here we are going to deal with your incompressible fluid. So your V1 is equal to V1 A1 is equal to V2 A2. So then this is your test section, okay, where you are going to simulate the real-time flow conditions. So you are going to place your model. You are going to study the flow force, your force that is acting on the your model, and you are going to see that how much amount of wake strength, those things and all you are going to do. You are going to simulate a real-time flow condition in the test section. Further, your diffuser, so basically what will happen? It's converting the kinetic energy into a kinetic energy to your pressure energy. So why we have to do, okay, if you are not going to convert your kinetic energy into pressure energy, okay, what will happen? So there is a sudden expansion, okay, you need to give a more power for your pump to suck the air. Automatically there will be a tremendous, okay, your overall efficiency is going to come down, okay. So you need to have a this one, okay. So these are the things you have to know in the case of your open circuit wind tunnel. This is what the one we focused in the your previous classes also. Okay. So anything more, any doubt? Because some of you didn't answer your these questions in the Viva also. So if you have any questions, please tell me. I am ready to clarify that. So, and also another one more part also we looked at that in the previous class. So this is open circuit, closed test section. Okay. Another is, okay, you have a you have a open test section wind tunnel. So here the test section is going to be open. So here they used to keep a breather unit kind of thing. Okay. So the advantage with the open test section, open jet tunnel, okay, open jet tunnel, okay, you have to know, okay, the mounting of model is going to be very easy. Construction is little bit cost effective. Construction of the tunnel. And also, if you look at your this one, so what will happen here? Okay, you are going to have a power unit. Using a power unit, okay, you are going to suck the air. Automatically, what will happen? It's going to absorb the atmospheric air also. So for maintaining that, okay, they will be going for a, okay, for entrainment of your what we call it as a breather, controlling the flow entrainment into the test section, okay, into the test section from the atmosphere. So this is a difference between your open jet and closed test, open test section and closed sections. And but here what will happen? Okay, your that entrainment you need to give a more power. But so you look at the your merits and demerits between the your, okay, relative advantages and disadvantages between the your both of the tunnels. So it's very essential. Okay, you need to know about that. Okay, between these two tunnels. Refer that, and if you have any doubts, you can come back to me and ask me. I'm ready to clarify that. Okay. Any questions, sir? Any question? Any questions? Okay, let us go ahead further on that.
Question, sir.
Sorry?
Sir, you said sometimes wire mesh is used to produce turbulence. That is, we need some.
Yeah, that's also there, sir. So normally, initially, what will happen if you are going to have a flow quality? First, you have to clean that whatever the means instability in that one. Then you create your own instability. So then you can easily measure that how much amount of instability present in that one. That's what. Okay. Initially, we are going to keep a wire mesh. Okay. We'll remove as much as it is possible. Okay. Then what we will do is, okay, if you want to simulate a real-time flow situation, you might have traveled in an aircraft. Some area while traveling that you might be getting an announcement from your cabin, okay, from the captain that okay, there is your aircraft is facing a turbulence. Where is the turbulence is coming? So those turbulence, if you want to simulate that, so there we are going to place your first of all wire mesh. Another thing is, okay, in the boundary layer or industrial tunnels and all, in the your bottom of the your test section, okay, so they used to put a small wooden cork and all, so that's going to simulate a ground effect. For example, if they are going to study the large chimney, so they are going to scale down a 1 meter height, for example, a chimney into a 1/10th of that. So if the building height is going to be something 10 feet, for example, okay, they are going to reduce that to 1 feet like that. A small car they used to put, okay, they used to simulate the real time your flow situation over there. Those things and all they'll be doing it. Okay, we will see that your turbulence measurement and all little later. Okay, so right now we'll go ahead with that part. Okay, but it's mainly for those things are for generating your this one. Okay, another thing is your what are the instruments are there for velocity measurement. Velocity, your static pressure, your stagnation pressure. First we look at that one. Okay, so now we need to look at these three now, right now. So prior to that, you might have studied your P naught is equal to P plus of rho V square. So this is it's nothing but your incompressible form of Bernoulli's equation. Incompressible form of Bernoulli's equation. So and also we might have studied your dP by dZ. Okay, it's going to be minus rho g. It's basically it's your hydrostatic equation. Okay, so now using this one, okay, what we call your P naught is equal to P plus of rho V square. Okay, so this is your stagnation pressure. This is your static pressure. And your of rho V square, what we call it as a dynamic pressure. So even sometimes the dynamic pressure, we used to denote it as a Q. Q is equal to half rho V square. Q is equal to half rho V square. Okay. So those things we used to do that. Okay. We used to denote Q is equal to most of the cases Q, if we are mentioning it as P naught is equal to P plus Q. Okay. So those P plus Q, what we can do is, okay, Q is the dynamic pressure, P is the static pressure. So you know that what is the definition for your stagnation pressure? Okay, if it is going to be isentropically decelerated to zero velocity. Okay, if the flow is okay isentropically decelerated to zero velocity, the pressure at the point is called as at that point is called as your stagnation pressure or a total pressure. I told you, I mentioned several times, please don't forget that stagnation pressure and what is the definition between yours, this one. So you need to know, okay, isentropic process. So you need to know the difference between your isentropic process versus your adiabatic process. Please refer that because already we have discussed about that. Okay, so this is going to be adiabatic reversible process. This is okay an adiabatic process. Adiabatic process is nothing but there is no heat addition or a heat rejection from the system. That means your total temperature is constant. That's what okay the temperature at measured at a point where the flow is adiabatically decelerated to zero velocity. So that temperature what we call it as a stagnation temperature. Okay, you know about reversible and irreversible process. Okay, so now okay we have seen all those things. These basics we need to know. Okay, and first thing is the main one we need to do is okay your sensitivity is going to be your Pittard static tube. Pittard static tube. So the Pittard static tubes are okay. How it is going to be. So this is basically a L type. Okay, so this is where we are going to see your P naught. Okay, this is where your what we call it as P static. So if you take it as this as a D, okay, your this is a D diameter of that. Okay, capital D. So this is going to be your 8D from the your this one, and this is going to be another 8D, and this is going to be your 16D. This is a simple construction of that your Pittard static tube. Okay, so this is going to measure using this your Pittard static tube. You can measure your dynamic pressure. How are you going to connect a dynamic pressure? Okay, one end of that your U tube, for example, to your P naught, another is your P static. So automatically you are going to have a P naught minus P, that you are going to get your half rho V square. That's nothing but your Q, that is your dynamic pressure. Or otherwise what you can do is you can connect your one of the end to a okay U tube alone. Okay, you are going to get a okay if you take a U tube or whatever the your pressure sensing devices. Okay, one is open to atmosphere, P atmosphere. Another is okay your P naught is going to be connected, for example. So your P naught minus P, okay, so that you are going to see that okay as a your delta H here. So we know that the height, the change in pressure, it's going to be rho G delta H. So you can, if you want to measure your P naught into P atmospheric, okay, P naught is equal to P atmosphere plus your rho g h delta h. Same way, okay, if you have your P static, if you are going to connect your instead of P naught, P static port, if you are going to connect, okay, P atmosphere plus your rho g delta h. So using your petard static tube, you can measure your dynamic pressure, your total pressure.
Sir.
Yes, sir. 1 minute, sir. Your
Yes,
static
sir.
pressure. Okay. Yes, sir. Please come to. Please tell me, sir.
Sir, the dynamic pressure which it measures, so a normal shock will be formed, right, sir? So the P
No, here we
naught
are
that is
dealing
measured,
only
isn't it the
only about your incompressible flow. We didn't go into the compressible flow. I'll in the due course of time I'll go ahead with that. But I'll show you, even if you want, I can show you now also. It's not an issue for me. Okay.
Okay. No problem. Okay.
So what happens is, okay, let me finish up this one, okay, and we will go ahead. So we have connected your this one, okay, your P naught minus P, that you are going to get, okay, your dynamic pressure rho P square, okay. So that is going to be, okay, we are going to measure your P naught minus P as a delta H, your rho G, your delta H. So you can calculate your, this is your manometric fluid. Let us take it as a water as a manometer, water head height, your air, okay. So we can write your V square is equal to 2 rho W, okay, G delta H W divided by your rho A. Okay, so this is your density of your water. This is density of air, G, and delta H is the delta H W is going to be your manometric liquid height. So your V is equal to square root of your 2 rho W G delta H W divided by 1. And also in your thermodynamics course, okay, and your mechanics of fluids course, you have studied about, okay, U-tube manometers, okay, U-tube manometers, inclined manometers, and also your pressure gauges. And also wherever you go for your competitive exams, so they will go for a double U-tube, okay, double U-tube manometers and all. You could have studied, okay. In ISRO entrance and all, they will be asking you, okay, you are going to have a 2 U-tubes, okay, like that. They will give 2 U-tubes, okay, connection of that U-tube with another things and all, they will be giving it. So you will be in a position to situation. What is the advantage of inclined manometer, okay. And also even the last exam I asked, okay, what is the manometric liquid? If you look at that manometric liquid, about that, okay, your surface tension, whether higher surface tension or a lower surface tension. Why they are going for a higher surface tension or a lower surface tension? Higher or lower surface tension, okay, why? So just you look at that, your this one, and we will go ahead with that. So now with the help of a petard static tube, okay, you can measure your dynamic pressure, your stagnation pressure or total pressure, your static pressure, and your, even you can measure your velocity of the fluid also. So if you are going to have only your okay, total probe, normally we used to say that, okay, your only one end, okay, we won't keep this one. They are not going to keep any total probe and all. So automatically you can measure here only your stagnation pressure, stagnation or total pressure only. Stagnation or a total pressure. Okay. So that's what the one you are going to see, that one, your P0. Okay. Same way you are this one. Okay. And also if you have a wall static pressure and all, they will be simply connecting wall static pressure. They will put a tap on that. Okay. They will measure the wall static pressure. If you anytime, okay, while returning back to the campus, if you look at that, okay, our tunnel is going to have a, you can see the wall static pressures also. Okay. Yes, sir. Any doubts, sir? Sanjay, I'll come to your question at last. Okay. Because
okay, sir, no problem.
Okay. So one more thing that we need to see is, okay, your other instruments. Used in the wind tunnel. Another is your a pitot probe only for your boundary layer measurement. Boundary layer measurement. Okay. And how it is going to be? Your small tubes will be there. A 1 mm diameter tube, less than 1 mm diameter tube will be there. Okay. 0.8, 0.6 mm. This is, if you look at that, it's going to vary between your the 0.6 to your 1. Okay. So then the remaining part will be connected with the help of a stem, and this is going to be your something close to your 20 mm. Okay. The length. So the purpose of that, if you look at that, your thickness of the boundary layer is going to be very, very small. So we are going to measure your boundary layer, and we are going to measure your boundary layer thickness, and we will be going ahead with that. If you look at that, your boundary layer, U into dou U by dou X plus V into dou U by dou Y is equal to, if you go for a boundary layer approximation, steady approximation, minus dou P by dou X. This is your X momentum equation. If you do a order of analysis, okay, for your boundary layer, okay, your momentum equation, okay, you are going to get this equation, okay, plus your viscous term, dou square U by dou X square, like that. It will be there. Some other terms will be there in terms of viscous term. And another thing, if you look at that, your dou P by dou Y is 0. This is your Y momentum equation. You take your momentum equation and do order of analysis. You are going to get this as the, for a steady case, you are going to get this is, so for a particular point, okay, particular X location, your Y, your static pressure is constant along the line within the boundary layer. So what I do is, okay, for a particular point, if I want to have a flat plate, I want to measure the boundary layer profile here. I'm going to assume, okay, whatever the undisturbed stream, if it is having a P static, okay, static pressure, that is, I am going to assume it as, okay, particular location. What is the static pressure over there? I am assuming it. And whatever you are using this probe, I am going to get my P0. Using P0 and P static, I am going to measure the velocity. I am going to draw your velocity profile over there. That is a one way of your boundary layer.
Sir, can you repeat this, sir?
Sir, for example, okay, you take your momentum equation. You do okay, if you study that order of analysis, what we call it as a order of analysis. You take a momentum equation, which term is going to have a, just read that, okay. If you have any issues, please tell me. I'll take up the order of analysis for you. But you could have studied in your aerodynamics course or in your mechanics of fluids course, okay. So now you can refer here, okay. If you do that, you are going to get U into dou E by dou X plus V into dou E by dou Y is equal to minus dou P by dou X plus viscous term, dou square u by dou x square, another terms will be there. And same way, if you go for a y momentum equation and order of analysis, you are going to get dou p by dou y is 0. Means your p of y, okay, particular y is going to be constant. That's the meaning of that one, if you solve that equation. So if I want to measure, I am going to take a flow over a flat plate. For a particular x location, if I want to measure my boundary layer profile, a x location, so with respect to y. So as per P of y is constant, that is static pressure is constant, I am going to measure only your stagnation pressure here. With the help of your total probe, I am going to measure my total pressure here, okay, each and every point. And every point I am going to get my u. So I am going to draw the velocity profile, it's a velocity profile within the boundary layer like that. So that probe normally we used to, for example, okay, if I want to measure what is the boundary layer thickness in your tunnel walls and all, we are going to do that part. Any questions, sir? Are you clear with that? That is, for a particular x location within the boundary layer with respect to y, your static pressure is going to be constant. That's what your boundary layer equation is telling. So if I want to measure the velocity profile, I need to have only the velocity P naught and P static. P static it's going to be constant. I'm going to have only measure your total pressure, and I'm going to see that one. Okay. And next thing is, okay, your flow angularity. So the flow angularity, claw type probe and claw, your sphere type, not sphere type. Okay. So what will happen in the claw type probe? So sometimes they used to have 3 probes also. Okay, so this is a kind of a claw type probe. In the case of a spherical, okay, so they are going to have a hole like that, and also central holes. Normally they used to go for a 3 hole, 2 holes. Okay, so let us take this as a PA and this is a PB. Same way, PA, PB, and the central one we will be taking it as a P naught. So if you are going to fix this your probe into your wind tunnel test section, if your PA is equal to PB, there is no flow angularity. No flow angularity. PA is equal to PB. But if there is any PA is okay, changes PA is greater than PB or PA is less than PB. So we have to calibrate these probe, okay, different angle, okay. We need to establish a perfectly straight line flow, okay, with respect to axis, okay. So we need to place this probe, okay, with the help of a tripod system. We need to arrange it for okay, orient the angle, okay, pitch and all. You can vary that, and how your PA and PBs are varying. Based on that, you need to generate a calibration chart. And same way, this is a 3 hole probe. So if you want to measure a okay, you keep it okay, in a kind of a horizontal fashion. But if you want to measure the pitch, you keep it as a vertical fashion. Okay. So with the help of your claw type 3 hole probe, you can measure your pitch and Okay. Same way, you have a 5 hole probes also there. So in our lab, we have a 5-hole probe. If you want, you can come and sometimes if you are visiting the campus, okay, you can find out your 5-hole. You ask my student, he will show you the 5-hole probe, how it is going to be. Even we have generated a calibration chart. Okay, this we got it from an University of Oxford one professor. Okay, so he had given the your calibration chart and along with the your propeller diagram, probe diagram and all. So we have made it. So still we didn't get a time to take a data with that one. Okay. So if any of you are interested, you can come and take your 5-hole probe and do the measurement. Okay. 5-hole probe. Even you have a 7-hole probe, what we call it as Omni probe also. 7-hole probe, what we call it as Omni probe. Even the calibration and all, it's going to be even tedious for this one. So out of this 5-hole probe, okay, you can measure your flow angularity. Okay, even you can, with the help of your angle, you can measure your U, P, and W. That is your X and Y component. X, Y is a component of velocity. That's what the one you are going to get it in the this one. Your 7-hole probe, 5-hole probe.
Sir, the
Any questions, sir?
7-hole probes, are they also pitot tubes?
Sorry, sir.
Sir, the 5-hole and 7-hole probes, are they also pitot tubes?
We can't say that, okay, the central hole will be there. That is going to be for the pitot purpose. Okay, like whatever the way in the 3-hole, that is going to measure the your pitot pressure. That is stagnation pressure or total pressure. Yeah, everything in central hole will be there. You can measure the P naught, and with reference to your another, if it is a 5-hole, another 4 holes will be there. Okay, how the values are changing, using that they are going to get the your U, V, W component of velocity.
Okay.
Any questions, sir? Okay. So in the next class, I'll continue about your turbulent sphere. How they are measuring a turbulence level in the your wind tunnel, and even hot wire anemometer also. Okay, but hot wire anemometer, I'll talk about that lighter's perspective, and I'll go ahead with that one. Okay, turbulent sphere. Okay, pressure sphere and all will be okay for the turbulence measurement in the your tunnel and all. We can measure it with that one. Okay, so we will discuss more on that. And also, this is basically a brief introduction about this one. So I'll take another one more class. Okay, you have a if you look at your yaw probe, okay, with respect to your flow angularity, okay, your yaw angle and your pitch angle. What is the percentage of error associated? Your percentage of error you are going to get. So those things and all, I can show you that some of the graph already presented about that. We will look at that. Okay, that is we will take care. And also here we have seen that your head and all. Okay, sometimes we used to have a truncated cone kind of thing, or like a blunt bodies. Okay, so Prandtl probe, like that, different things are there. Where are you going to use a conical one? Where are you going to use a blunt body? Okay, where are you going to use a ogival shape? Those things and all. What is the effect of that? Okay, what is the effect of that? These things and the influence of that in the measurement and all. Okay, we will look at that in one of the classes. Part of that. Okay, so in this class I have, okay, what are the equipments are there in measuring the your flow qualities, intrusive way of how are you going to measure that. Those things we have discussed right now. So in the coming classes, we will go ahead further. Okay. So for example, if you take a total probe, if you are going to put it in the your supersonic flow, you are going to have a detached shaft, because your theta is going to be greater than theta max. If it is, your Mach number is going to be greater than 1. So automatically here we will be discussing about that one. A Rayleigh-Pitot formula will be there for measuring the your total pressure. Okay, so your Rayleigh-Pitot formula, using that, okay, you can measure your P01, whatever the your tunnel P01. So those things while going for your blowdown tunnel, and how are you going to measure your blowdown tunnel, those things and all, while we will be looking at that in detail. Okay, so right now we don't want to go deep into that. Okay, we will discuss more on that. Rayleigh-Pitot formula will be there. There is a chain rule. How we are developing a chain rule? How are we going to simplify that? Those things and all we will look at that. Okay. Any questions, sir? Any question?